2024 Olympic Games, local Star Bulls alum Ryan Murphy failed to advance to his 200-meter backstroke final, walking away with a single bronze medal from the Games. Gator legend Caleb Dressel goes after gold today in the men's 50-meter freestyle race at 2:30, then again tonight in the men's 100-meter butterfly heats, hoping to qualify for the finals tomorrow. It's 92 degrees at 12 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Hey.
This is Helmets and Heels
On 1010XL, switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
Mia O'Brien still at the Miller Electric Center. She will join us in a little bit. Taylor Dahl is here. RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. Normally I like to start the show with something fun, especially when it comes to the Jaguars, football in general. But I have to tell you, Taylor, being out there today when Patrick Murtaugh twisted his ankle / his foot went in a different direction than it was supposed to. A lot of us saw it right up close. It was incredibly gruesome. I have to, though, I want to finish this part of the story, though, that Murtaugh was smiling after he was able to get the air cast on and get on the cart and waving to the fans, and the fans were cheering him on. And it literally, the Miller Electric Center went dead silent because people realized, of course, in the stands that he was hurt, but those of us in the media that were that close to it realized this was a significant injury. And yes, today was the first day that they were going to be tackling, so the chances of injury were increased. But I've never seen something like that up close and personal. And so my thoughts and prayers with him and his family. And like I said, he was smiling at the end, so that was the good part. But it was really bad.
Yeah, you and I were having the conversation before the show about how we're surprised that doesn't happen more with ankle injuries, because when you're in the red zone especially, it's just kind of everybody piling on each other, and you never want to see that. We've seen all over camp injuries, and unfortunately one of the tougher, harder practices today has led to a few. We'll get to the other ones, but yeah, it's something you don't want to see, but also in the moments when you do see them and good spirit leaving, it does keep you at least a little positive in that situation.
Yeah, as soon as he went down and we all saw the foot turned, you knew that the cart was coming immediately and the cast was coming on. And so I was glad that, of course, the medical staff for the Jaguars, they were always prepared to react accordingly. But it is something that we normally see on TV and you kind of move on. So when you see it in person, it really does kind of set you back and realize that every moment these guys are given on a football field is precious, because you really don't know. You mentioned injuries. So as far as the other guys today, again, Murtaugh with an ankle, I'll be surprised if he's not out for the season just based off of what we saw. But Cam Robinson did leave with a shoulder injury. He did not return. So we wonder the severity of that. And that, of course, is after Anton Harrison did not practice today. He's now in the concussion protocol. So they're getting short on tackles already when it comes to training camp. Josh Peterson, of course, the son of Doug Peterson, tight end for the team, he left with an ankle injury. And then Deshaun Dixon also suffered an ankle injury in one-on-one drills, but he was able to return. So that's good news. And also Keelan Robinson was able to return today with the toe injury. So it's good to see that. And Adam Gotsis as well was able to return. He had been out for a little bit. I forget his injury. I'll look it up here in a second, but it just...
Dewey's going to miss some time.
And Dewey certainly is going to miss some time as well. Gotsis was able to return after the stinger. That's right. And he did no contact today. Jordan Jefferson was able to return and do individual drills. The defensive lineman with an ankle injury. And then Cooper Hodges was still out with the back injury. Like you mentioned, Dewey's still out. And then also the undrafted rookie offensive lineman, Stephen Jones, was also out with a calf injury. So I wondered if they would resume practice normally right after that serious injury, but they did. And so that I feel like is at least good news that they were able to get things back to normal. And look, that's what happens in football. So you kind of do need to practice when somebody goes down with something of that severity. Our intern Jacob was out there and he said he didn't realize what had happened with Murtaugh until he looked up and saw Trevor's reaction. And so I wasn't watching Trevor. I had just been watching the injury because that's always my concern. Like you said, when you practice short yardage situation, there's a lot of bodies and a lot of big bodies in a very small area. And the past few days, we've seen them in pads, but because they weren't tackling, fewer players were on the ground. Once you see this today, it is a bunch of people all in one really small area, and stuff like that can happen. And so you do almost have to practice and carry on as if it is a game, because the game's not going to stop, other than the one time we saw with DeMar Hamlin for the Bills.
Yeah. Well, and Lauren, I mean, a conversation we had last year was the issues of injuries on the offensive line and how it was just kind of everyone, there was multiple guys playing multiple positions because so many things kept happening. Unfortunately, is a part of game, but it is a big question mark for the Jags too. And I've said that many times. Like in my head, I've said, please don't let Mitch Morse get hurt, because we're going right back to the offensive line that we had last season that struggled in so many areas. But I mean, this is I never want to see an injury. I'm not one of those people that even if it's somebody on a team that I don't like even Aaron Rodgers last year, I wasn't like, I don't ever want to see that. I'm just not that person. But
I think you're a terrible person if you root for injuries.
And I've seen it. I've seen it where you're at, I'll never forget going back to when Patrick Mahomes got hurt in that playoff game and the entire bar cheered. And I remember being like, so rude. First of all, I get it in your head. You're like, maybe we have a chance to win without Patrick Mahomes. So there may be more cheering for that, but let's give it a second. But with the offensive line, for me, we need to see there's question marks when it comes to depth. Who's going to play where? We've all talked that's one of the position groups that all of our depth chart does look significantly different behind those starting five, because I do think there's a lot of areas of maybe concern or just the TBD. We're trying to figure out what starting players. But Anton, concussion protocol, thankfully it's nothing more than that, because if you don't have an Anton and Cam, what does that offensive line look like without those two?
Yeah, it's a good question. And so my guess would be you'd see a combination of a Walker Little and a Javon Foster, the rookie, or maybe Blake Hant, since he's played there before. So I don't know exactly what their thought process would be, but certainly if both of those guys can't participate in the stadium practice tomorrow, then we would see what it's going to look like
without them.
Yeah. And so fans, of course, if you want to go to Everbank Stadium tomorrow to watch the Jag practice, it's from 10 to 12:30. You can go for free. You just have to register online. So go to jaguars.com for that. Some bigger things observations aside from the injuries, Taylor, would be, I think, another really good practice for Trevor Lawrence. Whatever he was dealing with in the beginning, so be it, but he has now come through to the other side, and he's a guy that definitely looks in command of the offense. I also really enjoy watching him when he's not participating, as far as he's not the quarterback throwing the ball. What does he do? Who is he talking to? What is his body language? And he just looks like
there's a lot of coaching with him, honestly,
absolutely.
I've noticed.
Yeah, he looks like, an extra coach out there, or he's constantly in communication. And a lot of the veteran players, you'll see a Christian Kirk go up to a younger receiver and guide them and coach them. And so I think this team finally has a really good balance of enough veteran presence to lead the young guys, but also some really talented young guys that I think we'll see, including a Mason Smith. I think we will see him far earlier than we thought. And again, Eric Armstead is out, so that makes sense. But still, I think they really like Mason Smith. Yeah,
and I've heard a ton about Mason so far, and that's what, even when drafted, I was one of the ones that wasn't the biggest fan. Not that I don't like Mason Smith. Thought it was drafted a little high, but if that's somebody that you do end up hitting on that is getting significant reps and is a big part of that rotation this season, which you could see it happening the way that Ryan Nielsen runs this defense, how many people he rotates and how many different places you're going to see a lot of these guys, he could be there. And I could in a month, 2 months be saying, he's right, I'm wrong, and I hope I am that. I hope I'm wrong in this situation, because I've heard a lot of good things about Mason Smith, and even going back to when I've talked to any LSU guy, they didn't have anything negative to say. Did they say, there's a little bit rawness, there's a little bit of things that he needs to work on? Of course, that's anybody coming from college to professional football. But so far, I mean, when you're talking about somebody who, like I said, is behind some of these guys and is filling in a role of someone like Eric Armstead, because we haven't been able to see him, so we're seeing a little bit more, but he's flashing. That's definitely a positive thing and what you want to see early on in camp. Yeah, and another LSU guy who I thought had a really good practice again would be Brian Thomas Jr. And I know everyone was kind of the first 4 days of camp freaking out about the offense overall, but specifically TJ, and wondering exactly why did they draft him 23rd overall if he's not splashing or making splash plays to this point. Everybody can relax. Yeah. When Trevor
and BTJ connect deep, it is going to be in games,
Yes.
not just in practice, in games. It is going to be
Beautiful.
Yes, it is going to be something that you're going to want to put on your wall, that first touchdown pass, or at least long reception that BTJ gets. And look, I think the offense has been, Doug spoke to it earlier today, and we'll let you hear from him a little bit later, but they're trying things. That's what training camp is for. You're supposed to be
figuring out a lot of
experimenting.
things.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so that's been, again, that's been one of the people have harped on the interceptions and things like that. And I get ball security is important, but it's good to see and hear them say that absolutely that is supposed to happen. That's what they've encouraged the quarterbacks to do.
Yeah, and I mentioned this a few times, like early in camp when some of these issues were going, that I'm glad the defense is testing Trevor and the offense and at certain levels that we haven't seen in a little bit, but also reverse. And I think that Trevor does, and we've seen this, I think some of the turnovers we've seen in the last couple of years are because he does, I don't want to use the word force, but he does try to push things sometimes because he knows he can do it. He knows he can make every throw on the field, and sometimes maybe he does it when he shouldn't. But that's also testing this defense, because this defense is going against some good quarterbacks this year. And in the AFC in general, we talk about this list of quarterbacks that they're going to have to face, especially once you get to the playoffs. So them also going against someone who is forcing the ball in certain situations and can hit every level of the field. And you have weapons like BTJ that you have to cover now, and a Gabe Davis, who these deep threats that you haven't had to worry about as much in practice the last couple years, is also going to be beneficial for them. And going back real quick to when we're like, they're figuring things out. We mentioned Dewey getting injured. What happens behind Antonio Johnson? Because I think a lot of people kind of had Wingard as that other safety right behind him. If Dewey's not here, who do you think makes the roster? Does it significantly change for you?
It doesn't, just because I think Daniel Thomas is a guy that they would look towards, and he's probably going to make the roster for special teams purposes anyways. Yeah, and I could be wrong. Maybe it's somebody else. But we know that they're going to continue to mix guys in, and that's one thing. My biggest observation overall, outside of how I said yesterday that Ryan Nielsen, I think, has been the MVP of training camp so far, although that's a little skewed now that Trevor's looked so good. But I do think that that's my biggest takeaway, is unlike last year where I felt like it was ones-on-ones all the time, it seems to constantly be different guys in there. And so you'll look up and it'll be a guy who we think is going to start running with the twos, or a guy that we think is with the twos starting or with the ones. And so they're mixing it up, which again, when you do have injuries like we just talked about, that's something that's very important. All right, when we return, Mia O'Brien will join us, but also Aaron Schatz will join us, the Chief Analytics Officer for FTN Fantasy for the Numbers Fantasy. So we will talk all things. He invented DVOA, if you want to know what that is, Defense Adjusted Value Over Average. All you stats nerds out there certainly know what DVOA is, so we will check in with him. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Sunshine Turf Friday. Visit sunshineturf.info. You can see their latest project on 1010XL's Instagram, or give them a call, Caleb and his team, 904-892-0580. We'll be back on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Now, a 1010XL Summer Olympic Update, brought to you by USAPark.net Airport Parking.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2024 Summer Games. Simone Biles becomes the first U.S. gymnast with 6 gold medals. She wins the individual all-around for the second time after pulling out of the final in Tokyo.
3 years ago, I never thought I'd step foot on a gymnastics floor again, just because of everything that had happened. But at the end of the day, it is crazy that I am in the conversation of greatest of all athletes, because I just still think I'm Simone Biles from Spring, Texas, that loves to flip.
At 27, Biles is the oldest woman to win the all-around since 1952. Suni Lee takes the bronze. In the pool, Katie Ledecky gets the silver as part of the 200-meter freestyle relay, her 13th Olympic medal, a record for American women. And 57 straight Olympic wins for the U.S. women's basketball team to lock up a spot in the quarterfinals. With this Summer Games update, I'm Brad Heller, Westwood One Sports.
Life hack number 7. Get an iPhone 12 on Straight Talk.
Life hack.
Here's how it works. You walk into Walmart, go to the electronics section, ask for iPhone 12 with 5G and a dual camera system, and select the new Silver Unlimited plan. They'll smile because it's a good plan. You get real unlimited data, all for just $20 a month for the whole first year. Get it at Walmart or StraightTalk.com. Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Taxes and fees apply. Requires activation of iPhone 12 and a new Silver Unlimited plan or higher end auto pay enrollment. $25 a month service credit applied for up to 12 months if eligibility requirements are met. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. Not a rate based on Terry who keeps and makes the car behind them. Oh no, they're about to? Save with DriveWise on the Allstate app and only pay a rate based on you.
Not available in every state, subject to terms and conditions. Rating factors and savings vary, and in some states your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This right here is as good as it gets. This is life getting lived without obligations or complications. This is filling your cup and savoring the moment. This is the gift of presence, served to you in a place where there's room for everyone and enough to go around. And the best part, it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
It's storm season, and JEA is committed to keeping you informed. In the event of a storm, we'll text and email you about the status of your services. We use Facebook and Twitter to post real-time updates. Our live outage map on JEA.com lets you track restoration progress. And as crews work to restore services, our storm outreach team will be in local neighborhoods to answer your questions. Because as your community utility, JEA is here to keep you safe and connected. Your community, your utility.
Tailgaters parking season passes are on sale now. Secure your Jaguar season parking today. Enjoy indoor restrooms, a full-service bar and grill, access 4 hours before kickoff. Visit tailgatorsparking.com and book your space today.
Sunshine Turf Friday on Helmets and Heels.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust new Febreze car vent clips, now with 3 times greater scent control, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with new Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing, which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up, Oscar!
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser share the huddle with Freddie T.
Bring it in.
Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein and Robbins.
Fred Taylor, he's a candidate to go the distance.
On 1010XL.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting.
Navy Mutual was created by service members for service members, so we know what it means to serve. Our policies have no active duty service restrictions, so you can rest assured that you're covered no matter your duty station, home or abroad. To go even further, we promise that premiums will not be higher for those who serve in dangerous environments, including aviation, diving, or on deployments. Let us help you protect those you love the most. Learn more at NavyMutual.org.
Hi, I'm David Lane, your average everyday Joe. I'm 5 months out of my back surgery with Southeast Orthopedic, and I'm doing great. Thanks to Dr. Herford and his staff at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. Playing in the NFL can put a lot of wear and tear on your body, especially your knees. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists has kept me mobile and ready to tackle every day.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and it is hot out there. You know that, Greg, but Honda has a plan for you on or off the road.
They do. There are a ton of Honda scooters, Honda mini motos, great for the beach. Also get you out in the woods with a Honda side-by-side. Plenty to do and stay cool.
Yeah, four-wheelers, and you can trick them out.
We can. From stereo systems to big builds, we do it all.
Everything's there for you to see. CyclesofJacksonville.com online or on Atlantic near Regency. Check out Cycles of Jacksonville.
Hello, First Coast, I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
For the greenest, lushest lawn on the block, choose the local legends, Roundtree Sod. Don't just settle for ordinary. Let Roundtree Sod deliver you a picture-perfect lawn. To get a free estimate, call 7414-SOD. 7414-SOD.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line. Hello. We can wiggle it.
Oh, hey there. Back from practice am I, Lauren, Taylor, Mia, and of course, RJ Saunders. We are with you till 2 o'clock. This is Helmets and Heels, and excited to bring on a guest who I've admired his work for some time. You probably have heard him if you listen to any of the national podcasts, the Athletic Football Show, ESPN, et cetera, because he is the guy that has all the stats. He is Aaron Schatz, the Chief Analytics Officer of the FTN Network. Aaron, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. Let's talk about the upcoming season.
Let's do it. The creator of DVOA. So let's start there. It's a buzzword, a word that perhaps some of our listeners who aren't as in the weeds may not be familiar with. Explain to us exactly what DVOA is, Aaron.
Sure. It takes every play during the season and assigns it success based on the down and distance, because 3 yards on 3rd and 10 is bad, but 3 yards on 2nd and 1 is good. And then we compare that to a league average baseline, which is adjusted for situation and opponent. Anything over 0 means good offense, and anything under 0 means good defense, and every year averages exactly at 0.
And without burying the lead too much, Aaron, let's dive into overall big picture. We'll start just big picture offensive and defensive side of the ball. Where does this year's preseason DVOA numbers and rankings have the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Well, we have the Jaguars with an offense a little bit better than what they were last year and projecting a defense to be a little bit worse. We have their offense ranked 13th in our projections, and their defense ranked 22nd. I'll add that we have their special teams 5th, and all of those numbers are very close to average.
Now, Aaron, when you're part of this metric, when you guys are calculating the DVOA, it takes into account a lot of things. It's a lot of little intricate pieces of players and offense or defense as a whole, but part of it is the opponent quality. So explain that a little bit, how it affects certain position groups like a quarterback, of which defenses they are playing, and how that affects the quarterback.
Right. First of all, I should point out there's a difference between the in-season DVOA and the projections that we're doing. The in-season DVOA is only based on the plays, the actual plays in the season. The preseason projections include a lot of stuff. They include like looking at personnel changes, looking at coaching changes, looking at schemes, like all kinds of things. So when we talk about opponent strength, we adjust every play during the season for the quality of the opponent, based on how good that opponent is, against passes or runs and that kind of a down and distance. And then when we look at the season to come, we project based on what the projections are for your opponent. So we had Jacksonville with the 8th hardest schedule in the league last year and the 9th hardest projected schedule for this year.
That's interesting. Aaron, when it comes to the defense, so obviously training camps going on throughout the country right now. How much do y'all pay attention to that? For instance, Ryan Nielsen's defense looks better than the offense right now at training camp, or at least that's how it was the first few days.
Don't pay any attention to it at all. Don't pay any attention to it at all. I mean, first of all, offenses are only going against their own defenses. Second of all, you never know what coaches are trying to accomplish with a certain period of training camp. They're not necessarily trying to accomplish, look the best, right? They could be trying to accomplish teach a certain thing. So the only thing that concerns me in the preseason is when there are major injuries.
Back to the offensive side of things, Aaron Schatz, the Chief Analytics Officer of the FTN Network, joining us on the Garber Automall hotline. Aaron, on the offensive side of things, it's interesting you guys have the Jaguars projected at 13th, not because of what we saw last year, but I think because of the expectations outside of the numbers from fans, from national media with regards to Press Taylor being retained. And the offense largely carrying over from last year, which an offense that stunted out at times. What did you make of the Jaguars last season, and are you guys banking, therefore, on that continuity and a step forward in 2024?
Yeah, I think some of it is a little bit of rebound, right? Because they were 10th in offense in 2022. So when a team declines a little bit, you expect them to rebound a little bit the following year. I think some of it is sort of an expectation. There's always this feeling like Trevor Lawrence is better than the production. Like, the potential is still in there, right? Like, so, his projection as a quarterback comes out good, and therefore we feel like the overall offense should be a little bit better. I'm not going to say that I watch the Jaguars and I go, wow, that Press Taylor sure gets a lot of guff for, he doesn't really deserve. Like, I don't think that at all. But, Peterson still has his hand in the offense, and I think Peterson is a good offensive coach. And I think that overall, the Jaguars were just a very mediocre, average offense last year. Particularly, they were bad running the ball, and they were very kind of average passing. But they were better on first and second down than third down, and that does tend to regress a little bit from year to year. So that's another thing that suggests that their offense is going to be better this year.
Yeah, and I think a big conversation for us, Aaron, this whole offseason has been injuries and how the injury to Christian Kirk affected a lot of things. And obviously Trevor battled a ton of injuries in that last month, barely practicing. Does DVOA, does it account for that type of thing at all? Because when we look at guys, for example, like a Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert who got hurt and just missed the season, they aren't playing with that injury the way that Trevor was.
Last year's ratings do not account for that at all because we're rating what actually happened. The projections for this year absolutely account for that because we want to account for the players that are going to be on the field for this season. Now, I will tell you in our adjusted games lost that keeps track of when players are injured, including when they are on the injured list but not necessarily missing the game. Therefore, they're not playing at 100%. The Jaguars were 15th. They were very average in injuries last year. So it wasn't particularly bad. But there wasn't particularly good either. And, yeah, Lawrence dealt with some stuff near the end of the season, but he was healthy for most of the year. So I actually don't think injuries play a huge role in how we project the Jaguars for this coming season.
Aaron, let's look around the division. Obviously, everybody high on the Texans right now. What do their numbers look like?
Love the Texans this year, absolutely. The Texans were low last year in takeaways on defense, which would seem to suggest that they're going to be better on defense this year. I don't think you can expect Stroud to take a step forward, but I like some of the other moves they've made, like bringing on Stephon Diggs. Their offensive line should be better this year. We're very high on the Texans. Like, we have them near the top of the conference.
You can find him on X at @SchatzNFL. Let's stay in the AFC South, Aaron. The Colts, another trendy team for many, but I believe, if memory serves me, you guys actually have them regressing a little bit to the mean, yes?
Yeah, so we are lower on the Colts than the market. There is no question. First of all, they were only 20th in DVOA last year, despite being 9-8. Okay, so our feeling is if they play exactly the same as last year, then they will be a below-average team. But that, first of all, they have some serious issues on defense. Losing Ebukam is not good, the edge rusher. Their cornerback situation, other than Kenny Moore, is really questionable. And on offense, there's so much expectation that Anthony Richardson is going to be good. And we don't know. Anthony Richardson is effectively a rookie quarterback, and you have to expect rookie quarterbacks to be bad. Now, they have a wide range of possibilities. They could be good. They could be very bad. But Gardner Minshew was an average starting quarterback last year, which means to be as good as Minshew was for last year's Colts, Richardson has to be better than your average rookie. And that's to keep things even with last year. To be better than last year, Richardson has to have a really good season.
And that is the million-dollar question. Hey, because all is fair in love and football, Aaron, we will wrap up with the Tennessee Titans, a team that I know. I've heard some national pundits, including the Yahoo Sports gang, saying that perhaps Tennessee could surprise people this year, although, of course, we get the news yesterday that DeAndre Hopkins will be sidelined the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Sure, Tennessee could surprise people, but that's because every team in the NFL could surprise people. I was alive in 1999. I remember what people thought of the Rams after Trent Green got hurt, and so any team can surprise. I am not a Will Levis believer. We are not, as a group, as a staff, we are not Will Levis believers. The Titans just look like a below-average team. Now, it's interesting because obviously the change at coach, because I don't know what to think about Brian Callahan, but Bill Callahan has a history of really improving offensive lines. So maybe their running game is going to be really good because of having Bill Callahan there. But, I mean, overall, the talent on that team just seems below average.
If you are interested in learning even more, head on over to ftnfantasy.com/sign up. And, of course, you can also check out the Almanac, Aaron, if you want to let folks know a little bit about what is inside of that wonderful, wonderful read.
Absolutely. This is our 20th preseason book, 450 pages with previews of every team and advanced stats and fantasy football projections. And you can get it by either going to Amazon and searching for FTN Football Almanac 2024 or going to our site, ftnfantasy.com/almanac.
And it does look like 75% off with an annual VIP subscription as well. Aaron Schatz, thank you so much for joining us on the Garber Auto Mall hotline. I'm sure we'll be in touch throughout the course of the season.
All right. Thank you so much.
There he goes again, Aaron. You can find his stuff at @Schatz. That's SCHATZ NFL on X, and he is the Chief Analytics Officer at FTN Fantasy. DVOA is definitely such a buzzword, and so glad to have the creator here on Helmets and Heels to kind of break down exactly expected win rate and what exactly that means on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball.
Absolutely. All right, Mia, you didn't get to weigh in the first segment, so we will get your training camp observations when we return. Also, Jaguars last year had 40 sacks. What is the projected total for this season, according to odds makers? That is next on Helmets and Heels on a Sunshine Turf Friday on 10 to Next on 92.5 FM.
Mia here, and we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino? Canceled because real life came calling. MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your own home. The live casino is so easy to use. Just go to MyBookie and click Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action's in the palm of your hands and you don't even need to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL. A revamped loyalty program ensures a host of exclusive VIP perks. Sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win, only with MyBookie.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality product and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
This patriotic chant mirrors the enthusiastic efforts our American athletes have dedicated to their quest for a gold medal at this summer's Olympics in Paris. USAPark.net Airport Parking is your safe and secure parking for when you fly out of JIA. No matter where you're going, whether you're traveling to the Olympics to support our athletes or just visiting Grandma, remember to park at USAPark.net.
It's a Sunshine Turf Friday on Helmets and Heels.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about letting things roll off of your back. So often we can make big deals out of things that are not really big deals. We can allow them to steal the joy of our day. But let me remind you that don't allow anyone or anything to steal the joy of today. Go out today not letting little things steal the big things that God has in store for you.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to come out and experience one of the most beautiful and unique golf courses in North Florida. Affordable golf, friendly service, and great times in the Hills Grill after play. Book your tee time, hiddenhillsgc.com.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On August 2nd, 1982, MLB legend Oakland outfielder Rickey Henderson steals his 100th base of the season in a 6-5 win over Seattle.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
If the Florida heat is getting you down and you're sweating up a storm, fire up a phone call to Florida Home AC and order an AC tune-up. It's the best way to beat the heat and keep your AC unit working at peak performance. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com for their tune-up special and make sure you're primed for the peak of that heat. Florida Home AC, the official AC provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and just a phone call away at 777-4300. Order that tune-up today.
Sports fans, JJ LaSalva here. When I need to send my bride flowers or a plant for birthdays or anniversaries, I always go with Hume Flowers. After all, they've been the leading florist in these parts for over 75 years. You can always rely on Hume Flowers.
Lauren Brooks here for Hodges Mazda. Why buy from Hodges Mazda at the Avenues? Because they strive to ensure a satisfying and comfortable car buying experience. That's why the sales staff doesn't work on commission, allowing Hodges Mazda to put your best interests first. Whether you're looking for a brand new Mazda or a pre-owned vehicle, Hodges Mazda has a large selection to help you choose from. And every vehicle purchased from Hodges Mazda comes with 2 years free maintenance and free car washes for life. Now that is peace of mind. So visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at HodgesMazda.com.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, presented by FIS, is home this weekend at 121 Financial Ballpark. Tonight is Red Shirt Friday with post-game fireworks. Tomorrow, it's back-to-school night as the first 2,000 fans gets a water bottle plus more fireworks courtesy of Wolfson Children's Hospital. Then, it's a Baptist Health Sunday Family Fun Day. JackShrimp.com for tickets. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, affordable family fun.
Mia O'Brien here for my friends at Duck Duck Rooter. If water flows through it, the team at Duck Duck can install it or
Listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision and equal opportunity employer.
This is Dr. Steve Crenshaw, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Doug Peterson took the podium this morning and gave praise to tight end Evan Ingram and how he treats his job professionally.
He approaches it like a professional. You know, practices at 9 a.m. and he's out there at 8:20 going through a routine. That's what great players in this league do, you know, especially guys year in, year out that have had consistent years and good years, and he's one of those. And he works on his craft, and he wants to improve, and he wants to show his teammates, you know, what it takes to be that pro and to get himself ready for just a training camp practice.
Ingram had a solid performance last season, recording 114 receptions, 963 receiving yards, and 4 touchdowns. I'm Molly McDonald with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars Update.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on the Sunshine Turf Friday. Mia, your first time to talk about what you saw at training camp earlier. I led the show with just how gruesome the injury was to Patrick Murtaugh and how a deafening silence came over the Mill Electric Center.
Yeah, the good news, if we can find any sort of silver lining in what was an extremely gruesome injury, was just that once the incredible work by the athletic trainers was done and he was put onto the cart, he was smiling, he was pumping the crowd up. An unfortunate situation, to be sure, but great work by the Jaguars athletic training staff, because I didn't even see the air cast that they brought onto the field, and all of a sudden they stand him up, and I was like, man, like, in under 4 minutes, it felt like an eternity, because after seeing it and how gruesome it was and the fans' reaction to it and the groans, it was incredible because time felt like it was slower. So in reality, how quickly they were able to get him stabilized and get him on the cart was incredible.
Yeah, they do a good job of gathering around the player so that you can't really see anything from the moment that they go down. At least it felt like you said, it felt like so long in between when we first saw the injury to when he was on the cart, but it really, in real time, they did a great job, to your point. But other things that stood out, Trevor Lawrence, I thought, had another great day and seems to be settling in.
Yeah, for sure. And this was, in my opinion, one of Trevor's best practices, especially during the 7-on-7 portion of practice. He was dialed in. There were a couple of deep balls thrown, including a highlight to Brian Thomas Jr. along the sideline that you couldn't help but be like, man, good for the fans that came to practice today. I feel bad for the fans that were at practice, let's say, last Friday, and perhaps we're looking for a little more home run balls that they didn't get to see.
It was going away from the fans. That's why I felt bad. Because,
yeah, but
like,
they
the
were
one
up
time
high.
they connect,
Right, they were up high, and guess
Have
what?
their binoculars.
The fans also got literally a front row seat to the goal line period that Doug Peterson had told us was going to be coming today. Unfortunately, that included Patrick Murtaugh's injury. They got a front row seat to the one-on-one portion of practice as well, because that was on the first field today. And so I think it was a good practice if you were a fan to see. A lot of positives from Trevor. My big takeaway, as I'm actually editing today's Quick Hits right now, driven by Arlington Toyota, the red zone. That was obviously an area for concern for this Jaguars offense last year. But on 2 plays on the goal line, 2 touchdowns. That, for me, is a massive takeaway. Right, that's a massive takeaway. And by the way, both of those plays for Trevor and company, that was running the ball. That was not Trevor finding someone in the back of the end zone from the 1-yard line and throwing a fade. That was a handoff, and that was the run game showing that they have taken it down to the studs and are taking that next step.
One of the conversations we also had, Mia, in that first segment was they came out, Doug Peterson talked about Andrew Dewey today, and unfortunately said he'll be out a while, were his words. And Lauren said it didn't affect her as much. Does it affect your depth chart at all if Wingard misses a significant amount of time?
I think, well, if he was to start the season on reserve IR, I think that creates an interesting numbers game because number one, do you then want to keep an additional safety? I would think they do, because they don't really view Darnell Savage as playing the role that Dewey does. I think that could open the door for, let's say, a Josh Proctor, who Heath Farwell, the special teams coordinator, very complimentary of last weekend.
Terrell Edmonds.
Terrell Edmonds, right, a veteran guy. Maybe they opt for, hey, let's put Edmonds as a vested veteran on the practice squad if he agrees to that. And in turn, this allows us to keep that 7th wide receiver. That allows us to keep a 3rd quarterback. But again, we don't know right now the timetable for Dewey, but it was obviously a pretty grim outlook from Doug this morning. And so
better than season ending, I will say that.
Yeah,
it seems like, at least, it's not going to require surgery and he's going to be out for the season.
Yeah, but then again, we also didn't know about Anton being in the concussion protocol until Hayes Carline just so happened to ask the question about how Anton's looked, and that was when it was revealed that Anton got a little bump in the head, as Doug told me. So it's obviously it's unfortunate because we won't get to see Anton for the next few days, but he is being taken care of in the concussion protocol, and we know Dewey's getting great care as well. Didn't see Dewey on the sideline today, so I was hoping. I was like, man, at least if we could see Dewey on the sideline, I'll feel a little bit better.
And he'd probably feel better if he's on the sideline too, because then he gets to coach up some guys,
which is what he wants to do. And that is, as much as, yes, I understand those of you who've turned him into a meme, and those of you who believe that I've done the same willingly with Dewey. today with our post-game videos. But look, the truth of the matter is that he is a vocal and emotional leader for this team. And not having him, yes, he's not a starter, but it does create a void.
Yeah,
What about
same with the tackles, by the way?
I was about to say,
yeah,
no Cam
yeah.
or Anton probably tomorrow because I don't see them taking the chance on either of those. What does the line look like without either of your starting tackles?
Right. Well, obviously Walker Little is going to be at one of
yeah.
those tackles. Some other names that you could throw out there: Blake Hance can play all 5 positions. Cole Van Lanen is a guy who's gotten extensive work at that left side as a backup.
Javon Foster.
Javon Foster. The goal.
Who Hacker will catch up with. You can hear that tonight.
The goal is eventually for him to be a swing tackle. He's, from what we can see, he's doing a little bit of work on both sides, but a lot on the right side. I think that's just by virtue of you have Walker behind Cam. So I think. Yeah, it'll be a numbers game, which is interesting. The Cam injury, in case you missed it, was officially listed as a shoulder injury. I didn't even realize because when he stepped aside, Doug Peterson, and I know you had left, I think, at this point, Lauren, he actually asked people to clear way. And the way that Cam was keeled over, myself and some of the other reporters, we thought he just had to. Sorry, we thought he had to puke because the way that he was keeled over and Doug's give him air. We were like, oh, he's got to vomit.
And he's had issues with the heat in the past.
Yeah, and so that's what we thought it was. And so it was interesting when the official report did come out and it was the shoulder injury, which makes more sense because he did have his helmet on for a while. And I'm like, if he's got to throw up, why don't we have take his helmet off? But no, so it is. I know. I was kind of worried. I'm like, is are we what are we dealing with here? But it is a shoulder injury for Cam, and yeah, I'm sure they'll be precautionary with regards to it.
Yeah. So tomorrow's practice is going to be interesting for all the fans that are going to go out there because the offensive line has already been shuffled. Once we saw, like we said today, no Anton Harrison. Tomorrow we assume no Cam Robinson. That could change. You never know. But if fans are going to go out, they'll get to see who the backups are going to be. Don't want to speculate as far as what we think at this point in time. All right. So the Jaguars last year had 40 sacks. Odds makers are predicting the Jaguars to have 41.5 sacks this season.
Over.
Yeah, I'm going over as well because
that 40 last
you're telling
year.
Me, right, and I get it.
And Josh 27 and a half of them came from two.
Josh Hines Allen's probably not going to have 17 and a half again. He could, but my guess is he might not reach that number. But you're telling me that then the addition of Eric Armstead, the addition of Travis Gibson is really only going to increase by last year's to this year's 1.5? That seems low.
Yeah, I said before that I do think that Trayvon's will stay around the same. I do think Josh Allen will have a little less, but I do think Eric Armstead's going to account for more. I think Travis Gibson's going to have 4, 5, 6. I do think Devon Hamilton being healthy is going to notch a few more. I think easily over 41.5. Easily.
Let's go back to 2022, where while the Jaguars probably didn't have as many sacks as they wanted to.
Also Ryan Nielsen.
Right, exactly. Perhaps the biggest offseason acquisition, Taylor. Let's go back to 2022, though, because while the numbers for Trayvon and Josh were not as gaudy, the overall sharing the wealth was a bit higher. So back in 2022, Josh Hines Allen had 7 sacks. Boye Aluakin had 2, Rayshon Jenkins 1, Andre Sisco 1, Devon Hamilton 2.5, Trayvon Walker 3.5, Chad Muma 1.5, Roy Robertson Harris 3, Arden Key, who built the city, 4.5, Dewan Smoot 5, Foley Fatukasi 1.5, Adam Gotsis 1.5, and how could we forget Caleb Chason's 1 sack in 2022? That, well, certainly again, you don't have double-digit sacks from anyone. It did. He's taking first-team reps with the Panthers. If you spread the wealth like that, I think everyone would be A-okay with that. But at the same time, you probably need to see a little bit more, if that makes sense.
They had 35 sacks in 2022.
Right.
As a team.
Which is why we screamed we need to add to the pass rush, and then they didn't listen to us.
But if that team had 35 sacks, you're telling me what they have this season is only getting 6 more sacks than 2022 Jaguars?
And we know because of Ryan Nielsen, like you said, the blitzes are going to come from places you didn't expect.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are going to be guys with sacks that, let's say, right now, of course, he's injured, but let's say Andrew Wingard is in there.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Wingard might get a sack, whereas before he wasn't necessarily going to rush the passer. That is a possibility.
And, of course, we don't know what the second tier will look like either.
Yeah.
Whether who is playing Mike, who is that off-ball linebacker. If anything, we saw last year from what we heard from Mike Caldwell, and heard from Foye Oluwakim, which, by the way, happy birthday to Foye.
Yes, happy birthday. They made him practice on his birthday.
I know, sad. Hey, you had to work on your birthday too,
I did.
Lauren.
My work, though, is slightly less, less grueling.
So Foye was very vocal about they did give him more designated pass rush opportunities last year in Mike Caldwell's defense comparatively to the year before, even if he was at the heart and at the Mike linebacker position. So, again, I don't know. And it sounds like from what Devin Lloyd said, from what Foye said over the weekend, they are still workshopping that. But given the history of Ryan Nielsen's defense and what he's been able to scheme up in the past, I do believe and anticipate you would see more schemed up sacks. And in turn, Taylor, if those guys are winning along the front, you got to bank on a combination around 30, right? Because if they had 27.5 between two of them last year and we're expecting more wealth and you also added Eric Armstead, you would think that the line gets you somewhere in that 30 to 35. Where else can you generate those remaining 5 to 10 sacks?
Right, because again, 40 was without the interior pass rush because of Devon Hamilton and the illness/injury that he suffered. And so I would think that Roy Robertson-Harris and certainly Devon Hamilton and Eric Armstead, who we've talked about, and Mason Smith if he gets in there, and maybe Jordan Jefferson if he gets in it. Like, these guys are all going to create some sort of interior pass rush. And so, yes, that can also free up the guys, the defensive ends on the outside. And yes, it can come from the linebackers, inside, outside. It can come from the safeties. We just have no idea how he's going to deploy them. But at some point in time, I feel like a lot of guys are going to have at least one sack by their names.
Yeah, I think that, like Mia's word of spreading the wealth, and I think it is going to be a lot of that. I think we're going to still see a lot of Josh Allen and Trayvon. I think we're still going to, I think also, I know Eric Armstead has never been the guy to really get like 9, 10, 11, so I'm not expecting that. But I think just getting 5, 6 out of him and the pressure he creates on the inside opens up opportunities for so many others. And then in addition to that, to your point, Lauren, what Ryan Nielsen's secondary does, I would not be surprised whatsoever if a few of the safeties have 3 or 4.
Yes, so that's certainly going to be something that we can look forward to. Probably not so much in the preseason, but certainly week 1 against the Dolphins. All right, it's a feel-good Friday, always a Sunshine Turf Friday on Helmets and Heels. When we come back, we'll let you hear from Doug Peterson, some of his comments from this morning, as well as outside linebacker Trayvon Walker, defensive end. I'm never going to get it right. Defensive end Trayvon Walker when we return on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
And now for something completely different.
1010XL can now be heard on your radio.
Now you can listen.
From sunup to sundown.
You can play it all day long.
New and improved.
This radio station will remain on the air.
1010XL.
I invite you now to listen.
Hey Jacksonville, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. Are you looking for an easy way to feed your friends and family this summer? Let your local Chick-fil-A restaurant cater your next gathering. Choose from a variety of trays, including Chick-fil-A nugget trays, mac and cheese, and, of course, gallons of Chick-fil-A tea and lemonade. Perfect for a get-together of any size. Place an order through the Chick-fil-A app online or by calling ahead and pick it up at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant or get it delivered directly to your door. Enjoy more of the summer season with your loved ones when you take cooking off your plate with Chick-fil-A. See restaurant for details.
Thermal Engineers is hiring. Thermal Engineers is a commercial HVAC contractor serving North Florida for over 20 years. Qualified technicians and installers, how does top pay, 401k, and full benefits sound, and a signing bonus? Is it time for a positive change in your career? Join the family-oriented commercial HVAC contractor at Thermal Engineers. Call 230-1172 or go to Thermal Engineers, Inc., an equal opportunity employer.
Mia here, and why Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned? Because when it comes to selection, you don't want to have to compromise at all. You want to get it all, and that's exactly what you'll find at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Just listen to this. Over 275 SUVs, over 200 cars, over 100 pickups, over 50 luxury vehicles. That is over 600 vehicles, folks, and they're all in one location. Maybe you're buying your kid's first car, or you're on a tight budget and really need some wheels. Arlington Pre-Owned even has 125 vehicles under $18K. And if you're looking for buying confidence, you found it. When you buy from Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned, you get 60 days to love it or exchange it. 60 days. Need a little credit help? Arlington has your back with the Credit for Everyone program to help you get finance. Why Arlington? The better question is, why not? Don't wait. Shop Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned today. In person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
Brian Wall here. Would you take your paycheck, go to the bank, cash it, and then simply throw it up in the air? I didn't think so. But in a way, over the years, that is exactly what you're doing if you have old or builder-grade windows in your home. Even if you have a brand new home, those windows are not the best windows you can have to save on your energy bills. Window World has sold millions of replacement windows to homeowners like you, and Window World's customer satisfaction is the highest in the business. Please check Window World out yourself and save on your new windows and on your energy bills. Compare with other companies and you'll see Window World is simply the best for less. It's up to you. You can call Window World and get a free estimate, get the best guarantee in the window replacement business, save money on your new windows, and save more on your energy bills. Call Window World today at 904-443-7001 or go online to windowworldneflorida.com. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zero Res and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Jags fans, the Jaguars are back at the Miller Electric Center for training camp.
Presented by Dreamfinder.
You won't want to miss out. Stop by to get the first look at Trevor Lawrence and the team as they prepare for the 2024 season. To check out camp dates and secure your tickets, go to jaguars.com/training camp. Daily availability is limited, so lock in your tickets today.
How good is that?
It's a Sunshine Turf Friday. The highest quality artificial turf at affordable prices. Visit sunshineturf.info today.
Clearwater. John, I can't even mow my side yard. It's so soggy. Man, my builder sucks.
Brent, calm down. This is a common problem in neighborhoods where houses are built too close together. You need gutters and a properly installed French drain that will soak up subsurface water. We can completely dry it up.
So I can take my builder off my speed dial now, huh?
Yeah, we got you, buddy. Let that builder bitterness go.
Clearwater irrigation and drainage too.
Looking for a new or used firearm? Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach will get you locked and loaded. New firearms coming in weekly and always looking for used guns. No lines and no waiting. Online at beachesjewelryandpawn.com.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
If your ride is making strange noises, don't wait and make it worse. Come to Action Transmission on Merrill Road. My expert technicians can diagnose the problem and likely fix it fast. Experience the difference at Action Transmission on Merrill Road.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. With college football approaching, training camp continues for the Noles. Head coach Mike Norvell stresses the need to clean up the small details, but is liking the growth he's seeing on defense.
We got to do a better job finishing plays. I thought the defense did a good job. The offensive guys had some explosive plays. We got to continue to eliminate that. Good to see the defense making plays on the ball, something that I think we've really been emphasizing since we got back for camp. I like the growth that I'm seeing from them.
Down in the Swamp, where training camp has started for the Gators, head coach Billy Napier shares he believes this will be the most competitive camp they've had.
This camp will be the most competitive camp that we've had since I've been at the University of Florida. We have more competitive depth, we have more experience, and certainly we have a challenge in front of us that we look forward to. So we're excited about the opportunity.
It's 93 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time in Temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Wow! I feel good.
It's a feel-good Friday.
We're gonna have a good time together.
And that would be good.
So good!
Text or tweet something that makes you feel good today.
I hear good things. Really good things.
Cheers to the freaking weekend. Drinks it up. Yeah. Oh, let the Jamerson sing.
Well, ladies, it does feel a little less like a weekend when there's Jaguars practice tomorrow and
Yesterday
Sunday
was an off
and
day,
Monday.
so that kind of felt like a weekend.
That's true. All right, my Feel Good Friday. Shout out to my nieces who made me this bracelet that has our wedding date on it.
I saw so cute.
It is so sweet. And to all the people out there who say that I'm now in my Swiftie era, no, they're in their Swiftie era. So thank you to them for making the bracelet. I am just getting to wear it. And so also my other Feel Good Friday, Mia, did you place money on the overs when it comes to soccer? Because I nailed both of them.
Yes, you did. And
You
it was
did.
funny because
I need that money.
that was truly that was Lauren Brooks's finest hour up to this point of this iteration of Helmets and Heels when it comes to gambling on my bookie. Because as I'm looking at this, it's 2-0 US, and we're in the waning minutes of the ball game, and I'm like, I don't think it's gonna hit. I don't think the over's gonna hit. And sure enough, thank you, Australia. A garbage time goal to get Lauren over the threshold. Good teams
It wasn't
win.
garbage time. That was terrible, though. I hated it because even though Australia scored, they were still in the game at that point in time. There were still a few minutes left. because
Right,
of
there
the
was still a few minutes
extra
left.
time.
But at the same time, I mean, at that point, yes, it was a little bit of a moment of scare
Yes.
if you're a United States soccer fan. But at the same time, I was like, man, Lauren knew.
And
the
then
fix was
Germany,
in.
Zambia, 4-1. So I'll take the over there too. What are my winnings?
You did also say not Germany scoring.
I said
No,
Germany will
Zambia
get,
will.
all of the
Germany will
goals
get
scored
pretty
and
much
all.
all
Yeah.
the goals. And so I feel good this Friday about
Yes.
those two overs.
I love it. I have a question, Lauren, because I was watching the water polo yesterday. First of all, I didn't realize it's only the deep end.
Yes,
they just
you have to tread water the whole time.
It's insane
Yes,
to me.
that's what's
And you
hard.
were a swimmer. Do you think you could do that?
I don't know that I'd be good at necessarily scoring. I think I'd be okay at defense.
Okay.
But I could tread water the
Yeah.
whole time. Yes.
Oh, I was like, man, my legs would be so tired.
When I swam, they sent us into the deep end and we had to hold both hands out of the water for at least 20 minutes. So that was just something you had to pass that in order to be on the team. I forget which team that was. And they also sent us into the Itchituckney. And so we'd have to swim against the stream, against the current. And you weren't allowed to use your arms, butterfly kick only. I was 11 years old.
Oh
and
my God, that's
swimming
torture.
upstream, it was. I really was like, I don't know that I'm going to make this. But yeah, so I do think I could do it.
Okay.
Now, again, that was me, though, treading water.
They're also drowning each
without-
other in
correct,
certain
without
moments.
anyone trying to shove me underwater. That is a different thing. 'Cause I don't think I'd actually be good at water polo, but I could tread the water.
I was mostly upset that on the Paris in primetime last night, we didn't get any golf highlights. I had it on yesterday while working from home during the day, which, by the way, Xander Schauffele and Hideki Matsuyama T1, as well as Tommy Fleetwood. Tommy! Well, Tommy always the bridesmaid, never the bride. At the Olympic golf competition, they are all sitting at 11 under.
By the way, Tommy is playing, I read the story, with a heavy heart because his hometown is where the shootings recently were that killed the kids. Yeah, and so certainly rooting for him when it comes to the Olympic golf. But yeah, they tend to focus more on swimming, I feel like. Obviously the gymnastics as well. Simone Biles, another gold medal. So that's good for her. All right, Taylor, what's your Feel Good Friday?
My Feel Good Friday is that even though it was absolutely meaningless, the Bears beat the Texans last night.
And do we count the win?
Jaguar legend Colin Johnson went off last night.
Dave wasn't wrong. He was just early.
No, I mean, it's that glimpse of football's here. And there weren't many people playing, but somebody that I really want to make the roster, and Khalil Herbert. And there's been a lot of chat that Khalil Herbert won't make the roster because of DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson, who they had drafted last year. But I love Khalil Herbert, and he was one of the focal pieces of yesterday. And I think this was either, and I was trying to figure it out. I was texting with some friends, is this Khalil Herbert making the roster? Or is this them trying to say, hey, somebody, look what Khalil Herbert can do, come and get him? I love him. I think it's also his final season on his contract with Chicago. So I'm like, I don't understand why you'd get rid of him right now. But yeah, so a few moments there of Khalil Herbert, of Colin Johnson, Brett Ripon, however you say his name, looked like he should be a starting quarterback in the NFL. We know it's a joke because it's the Hall of Fame game, but it honestly makes you think, is Bagent's job at the second QB safe? Austin Booker, who they drafted in the 5th round this season, had a pretty good game yesterday too. So a few pieces that I could take out of it as somebody who is more in depth of the Bears roster than most, but the bigger picture is football's back.
Yeah, and by the way, the weather in Canton this time of year,
it's a tradition as old as
no
time.
bueno. Can we get an indoor stadium
Yes,
up
we've
there?
got to figure something out. It was terrible.
I was like, yep, that's about right, par for the course. Everyone needs to endure at least one weather delay at the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
I would have much preferred our game to start on time and end early like theirs did last night.
Yeah, and, well, didn't the one for the Jags get called early? Did it? Or
I don't remember that.
I don't remember. I was trying to remember, but I remember multiple delays and just sitting there. And
Yeah, I
being
remember
like,
being in that press box between that and the enshrinement for like 20 hours.
I was like, are we actually going to play football here? But no, Taylor, a couple questions for you.
Yeah.
The Roschon Johnson, Khalil Herbert logjam is fascinating to me. But what's more fascinating, number one, do we think Colin Johnson's making this roster?
I think he is.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's literally probably wide receiver 5 because clearly DJ, Keenan, Rome, Tyler Scott behind that. But I do think he's that 5th or 6th wide receiver, at least after last night. Because beyond that, I do think that Velus Jones will still make the roster. Velus Jones is more of like that specialty type player, and he's on his last chance. Like, he had not a great last couple seasons, muffed multiple punts, fumbled multiple balls, but it's Ryan Pohl's guy. It was Ryan Pohl's first draft, and he used a high draft pick on him. So I think he's just like, give me something out of this. And so they started adjusting things late last season. They were using him in the run game a little bit. They were using him in kick returns. Now with the new kick return and 2 guys, I do think it will benefit Velus. So I do think he's going to make the roster. But beyond that, it's going to be a competition between DeAndre Carter and Dante Pettis of who makes the roster. If they keep 7. If not, I think Colin Johnson is pretty safe.
Well,
right
he's
now.
got a skill set that I don't think, as much as Keenan Allen is a taller guy, I don't think he's your big body, like red zone.
What is he, like 6'7"?
6'6", yeah.
He's so big.
It's like Elijah Cooks here, not that he's that tall, but it's
Right.
that conversation of if he makes the team, it's because he's the bigger receiver.
It's a skill set that you don't have. So that was my first question. My second question, and I think this actually kind of relates to the Jaguars a little bit, as we discussed. Heaven forbid Dewey Wingard has to begin the year on the reserve injured list. Heaven forbid any player does that's expected to be on our 53-man rosters, and what that does for carrying 2 versus 3 quarterbacks. How do you feel about Caleb Williams, a rookie, his primary backup, Tyson Bagent, only having 1 year of experience in the league? Would you rather have a Brett Rippon or, I don't know, trade for a veteran guy who maybe, a Case Keenum, for example, in last night's game?
Can't have Mac
It was
Jones.
like all
behind
of Davis Mills.
Mills.
Everybody, the Texans kept trotting out. I was like, oh.
Because last year the Texans kept 3.
Yeah.
They had Davis Mills, who had 2 years of starting experience, but they specifically went out and got Case Keenum because they needed a veteran voice for C.J. Stroud. I was just curious if you feel like that is missing in the Bears quarterback room.
Yeah, it is an interesting conversation because last year it was Tyson Bagent was this solid number 2, and behind that it was Nate Peterman. Nate Peterman. And so it was between those 3 guys. You also had just young, and there were moments that you wish you had a veteran, and I've been vocal here of the reason I like Beathard more than Mac Jones is because I think it is beneficial to have somebody who has experience in certain situations, not somebody that you're still trying to develop and make an NFL quarterback. And it's the same conversation with Tyson Bagent. Tyson Bagent had moments last year where you were like, man, like this kid could be pretty good. He has an arm. He's very smart when it comes to the ball. And I was talking to Denny about this yesterday because he was training with Denny for a little while, is no longer training with Denny. But Denny's like, he's a very interesting guy because he's very in his own world and likes to train his own way, which is not beneficial of a quarterback. The way he likes to train, his dad's like a muscle man. His dad is like arm wrestler, world champion or something. And his dad has put in his mind, like, let's lift all of these weights and get as bulked and muscly as you possibly can, and don't worry as much about throwing the ball. Like, that's natural. And Denny's like, it's not really how it works. And you see those moments from Tyson. So personally, I would Rippon last night, I would rather have Rippon over Tyson Bagent at this point. The way that it looks, you felt like he had a little bit more command of the offense. I like having the veteran guy. I don't want to have to develop and somebody learn behind a quarterback that is already also young.
I think the Jags feel like Mac Jones has more experience than Beathard as far as like game in and game out action.
Yes and no. Yes and no. I mean, they definitely, comparatively to a Nathan Rourke, I think they certainly feel that way. I also think they recognize that CJ is, entering his 30s, and Mac Jones, whether he is a long-term backup or not, is a guy who is 4 or 5 years younger, and so you want to capitalize on a younger player always, and someone who does have playoff experience. But I don't think it's a matter of they feel more comfortable with one versus the other, because I think that CJ Beathard offers that friendship with Trevor, not that Mac doesn't have a friendship with Trevor, but that older brother type voice in his ear that has been one of the few consistents through the Urban Meyer one-year experiment, through the Doug Peterson era. And then with Mac Jones, yes, you have the quote-unquote more capable guy who can come in and spot start for you because he has 40-plus games of experience in the National Football League. But at the same time, I think that having that voice, and that's part of why I was curious your take, Taylor, having that veteran voice I think is really important.
Do you think that last night Dare Gumbawale earned a spot? Because he looked good.
Hey, he can also be the kicker, lest we forget. We did see him kick a field goal and have a kickoff for the Houston Texans last year. So, no, I think even with the addition of Joe Mixon and you have Dameon Pierce, he again offers that like scat back sort of skill set, even though he can punish it in between the tackles as well. So he had some
receiving yards last night. I was like, I didn't know Dare could catch the way.
Yeah, a special teamer. So for me, I mean, I haven't looked at the Texans depth chart to project out like how many running backs they're keeping, how many this, that, and the other, but
where the spot for him
he's
is.
A guy that I think in their system they grew to know and love him last year, and he again creates consistency and continuity from last year and the carryover,
especially because we've seen injury from Dameon Pierce too. So are they, if there's any worry there, Dare is somebody that they maybe feel like could step in the moments that they need him to.
Exactly.
And like you said, special teams these days, that's going to help you greatly with the new kickoff rule. It was fun at least seeing
a little bit of that.
Yeah. Again, they're not going to show us much in the preseason, but it was fun to see. All right, on the other side, we will get to the sound from Doug Peterson from Trayvon Walker. Taylor has a tangent. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Sunshine Turf Friday on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
This is Helmets and Heels. This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. Now, a 1010XL Summer Olympic Update. Brought to you by
USAPark.net Airport Parking.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2024 Summer Games. Simone Biles becomes the first U.S. gymnast with 6 gold medals. She wins the individual all-around for the second time after pulling out of the final in Tokyo.
3 years ago, I never thought I'd step foot on a gymnastics floor again just because of everything that had happened. But at the end of the day, it is crazy that I am in the conversation of greatest of all athletes because I just still think I'm Simone Biles from Spring, Texas that loves to flip.
At 27, Biles is the oldest woman to win the all-around since 1952. Suni Lee takes the bronze. In the pool, Katie Ledecky gets the silver as part of the 200-meter freestyle relay, her 13th Olympic medal, a record for American women. And 57 straight Olympic wins for the U.S. women's basketball team to lock up a spot in the quarterfinals. With this Summer Games update, I'm Brad Heller, Westwood One Sports.
Life hack number 7. Get an iPhone 12 on Straight Talk.
Life hack.
Here's how it works. You walk into Walmart, go to the electronics section, ask for iPhone 12 with 5G and a dual camera system, and select the new Silver Unlimited plan. They'll smile because it's a good plan. You get real unlimited data all for just $20 a month for the whole first year. Get it at Walmart or StraightTalk.com. Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Taxes and fees apply. Requires activation of iPhone 12 and a new Silver Unlimited plan or higher end auto pay enrollment. $25 a month service credit applied for up to 12 months if eligibility requirements are met. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. Not a rate based on Terry who keeps and makes the car behind them. Oh no, they're about to. Save with DriveWise and the Allstate app and only pay a rate based on you.
Not available in every state, subject to terms and conditions. Rating factors and savings vary, and in some states your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Mia here, and we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino canceled because real life came calling. MyBookie's new and improved online casino, though, is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your home. The live casino is so easy to use, folks. Just go to mybookie.ag, and instead of pressing Sportsbook in the upper left-hand corner, slide 2 spots over to where it says Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers, yes, live dealers, ready to deal or spin, just like you're at the casino. The The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience where the action is in your hands. And yes, you don't even need to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL and a revamped loyalty program ensuring a host of exclusive VIP perks. Sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win. Only with MyBookie.
At Honda, we appreciate all the comparisons to other vehicles. And no matter how many times they compare their vehicles to a Honda, only a Honda is a Honda. Remember, value, quality, safety, there is no substitute. Visit your local Honda dealer now and experience the difference.
1010XL breaks down training camp all day. Listen for camp news with analysis and insight from the practice feed. Everything counts! 1010XL's training camp coverage is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing and Kingfish Pest Control.
This right here is as good as it gets. This is life getting lived without obligations or complications. This is filling your cup and savoring the moment. This is the gift of presence, served to you in a place where there's room for everyone and enough to go around. And the best part, it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pit masters since '68.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and summer's in full swing, and air conditioners are fully stressed. But do what I did and call the good folks at Fenwick Home Services to stay cool and comfortable all season long. Need a new AC? Fenwick has same-day estimates and next-day installations on energy-efficient systems. And your new system is backed by a warranty of up to 12 years. That's right, 12 years. Fenwick also offers same-day 24/7 service day or night, and their expert technicians will get the job done and get it done right the first time. Book online now at FenwickHomeservices.com.
It's a Helmets and Heels Sunshine Turf Friday.
Mark Watson here to tell you a little bit about HardballCreative.com. It's your online promo haven with thousands of ideas on how to promote your company. We're open 24/7, 365.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
School is almost here, and if there's two things I can count on, it's my kids needing new outfits because they grow like weeds, and Kohl's stocking their favorite styles. With the back-to-school customer appreciation event going on, I scored 30% off tees, jeans, sneakers, and backpacks when I shopped with a Kohl's card. No card? No problem. Rewards members save 20%, and everyone else saves 15%. Plus earn Kohl's cash, and it's a tax-free holiday in Florida. When it comes to back-to-school, you gotta go back to Kohl's. Select styles. Some exclusions apply. Offer ends August 11th. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
You can't go inside your home team's locker room, so Jags beat reporter Hayes Carline goes there for you.
Work on three, 1, 2, 3.
Hayes Carline here. Find my blog at 1010XL.com.
Brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing, where quality and experience count.
David Garrard here. Playing in the NFL can put a lot of wear and tear on your body, especially your knees. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has kept me mobile and ready to tackle every day.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
This is Hayes Carline for Kingfish Pest Control, a local family-owned business that's been chosen as the exclusive pest control provider for the brand new state-of-the-art Miller Electric Performance Center. As a Kingfish customer myself, I know their effectiveness in keeping spiders, roaches, bugs, and termites out. When I trust them for my family and the Jags trust them for their business, then you can too. For the best service in town, call my friends at Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality product and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Discover the difference that local expertise makes at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Visit their showroom at the Avenues and browse high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness at First Coast Lighting and Fans.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor on 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Sunshine Turf Friday. Always a feel-good Friday as well. All right, Doug Peterson met with the media this morning, and certainly a lot of the talk of the first few days of training camp were about how the defense seemed to be winning, and Trevor's ball security wasn't so good, and that's something he needed to be working on. Well, here's Doug Peterson on the fact that he challenges his quarterbacks with ball security in camp.
I challenge him and all the quarterbacks, because this is how I was challenged in camp. See what you can get away with now. See what type of throws you can make. Can I make that tight window throw? If it gets knocked down, if it gets picked, okay, great, that's fine, good for the defense. But then it reinforces certain things, right, from a quarterback's perspective. But maintaining aggressiveness with the ball in your hand, again, trying to make those types of throws. Not careless, not poor decisions, throwing late down the middle, none of that kind of stuff, but on time rhythm throws, and let's see what he can do. So I put him in those situations, but at the same time, I also want him to understand that if there was a throw to be made and he hit back in the flat, then we can go to the film and we can look at it and go, hey, now we either have to speed up a drop. Your eyes got to be, you got to let a play develop. There's a lot of things that go into it. And with camp right now, this is the time really to kind of experiment a little bit with that kind of stuff. But at the same time, you just don't want to be reckless or careless with the ball.
Trevor's had better days since the beginning, but I do feel like this would have been helpful for people to have heard last week when they were freaking out.
Yes, and I'm going to pull it up because it was a really good tweet, and I saw Justin Lewis retweet it from Seth Wickersham of ESPN. It's so important for quarterbacks to have, and I'm going to read it verbatim from Seth because it's truly hits home what we've been trying to explain and dissect over the last week and a half. It's okay to allow quarterbacks to make mistakes in practice. Mm-hmm. So what Seth tweeted this morning: practice interceptions are a problem if the quarterback is unproven. Otherwise, they need, in preschool terms, free play time. Mahomes has discussed the value in experimenting free of consequence. Remember Brady saying that at the end, he almost enjoyed practice more than games because the pressure was off. Just let them throw. And that's the reality. We're talking about practice, which you don't want to develop bad habits. But if you don't experiment and try things in practice, do you really want him trying to fit it into a window during the game? I don't think so.
Well, and that's what, Lauren, we were having that conversation earlier of it's an experiment right now. They're trying to figure out the things because one criticism that I've had the last couple seasons, and maybe this is a Press Taylor criticism more than a Trevor Lawrence criticism, but they haven't always ran the offense around the strengths of Trevor Lawrence. And I think that that's affected certain situations because even going back to Urban Meyer year, I know we throw that one out, but I still feel like that season, nothing has changed a ton to the point of, okay, here is all of Trevor Lawrence's things that he's really, really good at. Here's the things that he struggles with a little bit. Let's avoid those. They put him in situations where he still has to make certain throws that maybe aren't his biggest strengths. And I think that is why teams like San Francisco and Brock Purdy look so good because they literally are like, here's everything he's good at and can do at a high level. Let's just base our entire offense around this. And they haven't done that for Trevor. Not saying Trevor needs a ton of help, but it would be nice to back him up a little bit in certain situations.
I think every quarterback wants to grow and progress year in and year out. And so certainly Trevor would probably tell you, just because I'm good at X, I still want to get better at Y because I want to be the best possible quarterback I can be. And that's something that, yes, that's what training camp is utilized for, is to work through some things that aren't your biggest strengths. So that way they aren't your biggest weaknesses when the actual bullets are flying in real game time. All right, getting it to the defense, Trayvon Walker met with media following practice today, and he was asked how Ryan Nielsen's defense fits him.
Man, the defense that we're in now I feel like it fits me great. We're playing straight forward, and I feel like with me playing with my hand in the dirt, I feel a lot more explosive, and I feel like I can just play ball now.
You gonna miss any part of dropping into coverage?
I mean, no, not at all. But I mean, the more you can do, the more the better. So whatever my teams need.
I love that part.
And then the follow-up to that, too, was, and we may have this clip, RJ, so let me know if we do, was Hayes Carlyon asking Trayvon about his hand technique and trying to win from the inside as well as the outside, and maybe what development and what steps he took this offseason to really capitalize on that. I was listening to Nate Tice of Yahoo Sports' new podcast, Football 301, yesterday, and he said Ryan Nielsen, he thrives in a defensive world in which you have a bunch of mutants along the defensive front who just have crazy arm length, crazy height, crazy girth, crazy size, and they just win mano-a-mano in the trenches. And everything else kind of flows from that point forward. And I think that's what Trayvon's going to have the opportunity to do. Yeah. Win mano-a-mano, not have to worry about some other things. Not that he won't have multiple responsibilities. I wouldn't anticipate it. But at the same time, I do think it's his growth and what the high hopes we have for him, I feel like can be achieved in this defense, knowing the success that Ryan Nielsen has had with similar players of Trayvon's makeup, both in terms of his hard work ethic as well as his measurables, and also what Trayvon's role was at the University of Georgia, too.
I know it's a Georgia accent, but he has a little bit of the Xavier Legette sounding voice in certain things he says.
Like a little Cajun?
Yeah.
I can understand that. I think it's more
not
just
as thick.
Certainly not as thick. Before we get to the cut that Mia was referring to as far as Trayvon and the improvement of his inside pass rush, here's Trayvon, his thoughts on Ryan Nielsen so far.
Yeah, it's been great working with Ryan. He's one of those guys that he always gives the why on why we're doing something, so that helps make it a little bit easier on us, just going ahead and believing in him. And obviously he has the tape to back it up with other players as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Trayvon has to be thrilled with the defensive scheme change, to your point, Mia, as far as he played a lot of different positions at Georgia. That's why people didn't want him to be drafted number 1 overall, and they thought Aiden Hutchinson should be drafted number 1 because Aiden has played defensive end for a long time at Michigan. And Trayvon played inside, played outside. Certainly, like he talked about, he doesn't want to drop into coverage anymore, but if he can, or if he has to, he can. And he's a guy that I think he likes playing the role of you don't know where I'm going to line up, but I'm going to come after you when I do.
And that speaks to that positionless ideology that, look, I mean, we saw it when he was in Atlanta, when Ryan Nielsen was the defense coordinator there, and the personnel was nowhere near, at least on paper, what the personnel is here. And additionally, I still love, and I know there's going to come a point in the next 2-3 weeks where you Heeligans out there are going to complain and you're going to say, all right, like, he needs to figure out who the starting lineup is. I enjoy the fact that Ryan Nielsen views defense like the game of hockey, Taylor, that he's bringing in lines, that he's trying different guys out on the depth chart with different pieces because he wants to see who emerges from putting different situations around them.
Yeah, and we talk about how much the rotation will be a factor in the Ryan Nielsen defense. So you also want to see that. You want to see how many guys you can fit in different spots and how well they perform at each of those spots. And we've been able to see, at least last year, where Josh Allen and Trayvon were finally able to break out. And we know where Foye has been really good the last few years. We also know those guys are versatile and can be in different spots, which is very beneficial. But what other guys? What are some of these new guys? Jordan Jefferson and Mason Smith. Where's Devin Lloyd actually going to be? These are some of the players that I think Ryan Nielsen wants to play with because he thinks that they can play multiple roles on this defense like some of these other guys that we know can do it.
Yeah, and finally here is Trayvon answering Hayes' question about the improvement of his inside pass rush.
I mean, obviously with me evaluating myself, just knowing how I rushed throughout my first 2 years, I really didn't take a lot of my inside rushes, so I'm just trying to balance out from my inside to my power to my edge rushes.
You happy with how it's going?
I'm definitely happy, but obviously there's still room for improvement. Just go continuously keep working.
I think Trayvon Walker landed in the absolute perfect place for him to be able to line up with Josh Hines Allen, rep in and rep out, play in and play out, and learn from him. I think that was a such a beneficial thing for Trayvon.
Right, because he's not expected to be the alpha de facto number one pass rusher. And that's why, if our prediction comes true, Lauren, and he does have more sacks than Josh Hines-Allen this upcoming season, then it not only behooves both players, but it allowed for that glide path. And I say the word glide intentionally because it was not a situation where you dropped Trayvon in on a team that won 3 games a year prior, number 1 overall pick, and said, you now need to be the guy. He was allowed to have 3.5 sacks his rookie year. It was a great step forward that he had double digits last year. I think it was a great step forward and a confidence booster to hear guys like Mike Tomlin, respected around the National Football League, say, 44 is a problem on the scouting report. That is who I'm most concerned about. I think that suggests where this is headed, and I'm not sure that he would have had this leash and this ability to develop over time if not for Josh Hines-Allen's presence.
I was about to say, because when we talk, I've never really thought about it but in that way, but I do think that in a world where he ended up going, let's say, to the Lions, I don't think it would be the Trayvon we're seeing now because he would have had to be the guy. Like Aiden Hutchinson came in and was
and
like,
now
you
he
are
literally
the pass
has
rusher.
to be the guy because of injuries.
Yes.
Like if he wasn't the guy, the Lions would be not in a very good situation in terms of pass rush.
And so I do think, to the point, your point, Lauren, that him coming here was so beneficial for his development when it comes to in the NFL in general, but also because he was able to, we talked how much at, all the different spots he played at Georgia, and we did get to move him around a little bit here, but he also did have someone like Josh Hines-Allen to come in and be this role model of like, here is how everything works. Don't worry. Like, you'll get it. You don't have to be forced into some situation where you have to be this guy who's getting 10, 11, 12 sacks in year one.
Yeah, it's like the first time you're on a collegiate campus, right? If someone else has been to that school and knows where to go, you follow them kind of around like a puppy. And it's like, well, this is a great way of learning the ropes without having to look like an idiot.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, my first day on campus, summer in Gainesville, I got into fall, but wanted to go summer so that I didn't look like an idiot with 50,000 people on campus. Definitely walked the wrong way to class. Had to pretend like I was like waiting for a friend to then turn back around to go the correct way. So I would have appreciated someone showing me how to get.
I sat in the whole wrong class my freshman year, and I was like, I don't think this is the class I'm supposed to be in, and nobody said anything, so I just stayed. But I was like, this is not where I'm
happens to the best of us, and you learned something you probably never would remember. All right, when we come back, we have one segment to go, and Taylor's got a tangent, and we have our Chick-fil-A giveaway. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Sunshine Turf Friday. You can visit them at sunshineturf.info or call 904-892-0580 for all of your artificial turf projects. We'll be back on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
Looking to elevate your game night experience? Look no further than Best Bet. We're not just a card room, we're your destination for excitement, fun, and big wins. Whether you're a seasoned player or new to the game, we have something for everyone. Join us at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, or St. Augustine for thrilling tournaments, exciting promotions, and a vibrant atmosphere that will take your game night to the next level. Elevate your game night at Best Bet. Visit bestbetjacks.com to learn more. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Hey, Jacksonville, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. If you were looking to grow your career, Chick-fil-A restaurants are hiring and looking for folks to join their team right now. Chick-fil-A Jacksonville area restaurants are offering flexible hours, scholarship opportunities, and leadership development, just to name a few. You can find a friendly work environment with competitive pay and have fun at work with opportunities to serve your community. With locations all around Jacksonville, apply online or in person today at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant.
Your cooling system isn't working. Maybe somebody showed up with a portable electronic device. Then they discussed with you what your options are. Maybe they gave you an estimate that seems like an awful lot of money. What's the smart thing to do? When the situation merits a second opinion, get a Mike Merritt opinion. Yes, the Mike Merritt Comfort Team shows up with hand tools. We've never been able to fix an air conditioning problem with a tablet. Mike Merritt has been the trusted name for more than 30 years because there's never any hocus pocus. The Merritt team will walk you through the diagnostic steps up close and personal and show you exactly what you need. And the Mike Merritt price is likely to be far less because there's never an overtime charge, and the Merritt team doesn't work on commission. So remember, when it comes to the health of your cooling system, a second opinion can only help, and a Mike Merritt opinion can save you money. Florida license CACO 50384.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband-wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at goosehead.com.
Sunshine Turf Friday on Helmets and Heels.
Veterans, did you know VA mortgage rates have plummeted and you can now access up to 100% of your home's equity and turn that into cash right now? Hey, it's Roger Moore, President and CEO of Loan Pronto, announcing our VA Equity Advantage program. This VA offer can get you $50, $70, $100,000 cash out with no junk fees and no hassle. With APRs in the 5s, you can pay off all those credit cards, personal loans, car loans, and get one easy-to-manage payment. Veterans we help save on average $850 per month. And listen, if you're a veteran with a current mortgage rate over 6.25%, we can do a streamlined refinance with no income verification and no appraisal, saving you hundreds a month. At Loan Pronto, we respect what you've done for our country, and we show it. Call now and ask about our special VA Equity Advantage program. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm dedicated to helping businesses manage risk, maximize opportunities, and move their company forward. Jimerson Burr attorneys are business-oriented lawyers, equally comfortable as community leaders, private transaction counselors, or courtroom advocates. If you have a legal issue of any kind affecting your business, contact the firm at 389-0050 or jimersonfirm.com.
Break bread with Dan, Jeff, and PGA Tour insiders on Brunch with the Tour.
What is brunch? Tour news, tips, and inside info.
Brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation. Brunch provided by Chick-fil-A. Tuesday morning at 8:30
on 1010XL.
Are you worried about your roof? Protect it with a lifetime shingle transferable warranty with Universal Roof and Contract. Save up to $1,250 on your roof replacement, plus flexible financing up to 15 years. This expires August 31st and restrictions apply. Call 855-ROOF-HELP or visit universalroof.com to schedule your free roof inspection. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
universalroof.com.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Youth sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
Lauren Brooks here for Hodges Mazda. Why buy from Hodges Mazda at the Avenues? Because they strive to ensure a satisfying and comfortable car buying experience. That's why the sales staff doesn't work on commission, allowing Hodges Mazda to put your best interests first. Whether you're looking for a brand new Mazda or a pre-owned vehicle, Hodges Mazda has a large selection to help you choose from. And every vehicle purchased from Hodges Mazda comes with 2 years free maintenance and free car washes for life. Now that is peace of mind. So visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at HodgesMazda.com.
Need or want cash? Beach's Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all, selling or pawning. Get cash on the spot at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Ahead of training camp today, head coach Doug Peterson met with media this morning and talked on the importance of short yardage running game and how important it will be to see the physicality in pads.
Just the ability to come off football, and really, this is an area that we've talked about, short yardage, and first time we get to see it, in this situation with the pads on. So, the physicality, the play scheme, play design, what we're doing. Again, we're not scheming, right? We're just putting in a short yardage goal line type menu, that we want to use during preseason. But definitely want to see the physicality coming off the ball and, seeing if we can move the pile.
Sound courtesy of Jaguars.com. I'm Molly McDonald with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels.
Illuminated by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. And Taylor Dahl has a tangent.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
I've got a non-football tangent today, and it actually is a Chick-fil-A tangent because I just want to, and people talk about this all the time, but I did go to Chick-fil-A for lunch 2 days ago, and if whoever designs and runs their drive-thrus need to just fix the country because it's the most efficient. No matter how many cars, there could be 100 cars and they're wrapped around the building and you're still going through, no issues at all. And also, sweetest people in the entire world. It was 100 degrees outside, and I'm talking to one of the guys taking my order, which, they stand out. They have the several lanes. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's so hot out here. Like, I don't know how you guys do it. He literally was like defending Chick-fil-A with all of his heart, but like in the sweetest way of like, oh, well, they get us fans. We have water out here. If we get too hot, they'll let us sit inside at that table. And I was like, Chick-fil-A is wonderful. Like, they literally, why can't the rest of the country be like Chick-fil-A?
Yes. Truly. No, when we left for SEC Media Days, I tried to slide a little stop in at Chick-fil-A, and we pulled up, and there's quite a few cars there. And I'm like, I'm not so sure. Nope. No questions asked. You only have 10
Easy
minutes.
peasy.
In and
You're
out.
good.
In and out. No issue. Yes, the rest of the country needs to be run by whoever is running Chick-fil-A.
Maybe not all of the country, but certainly the logistics parts of things. Like, we've all been to, whether it's a concert or a sporting event, and the time in and time out is not run as efficiently as
Definitely
possible. And I concur. So what did you order?
I got the chicken nuggies, I call them, but the chicken nuggets. I love their salads. Their salads are delicious. So I usually either get the salad or the chicken nuggets, but I just wanted something that I could eat quickly while I was finishing work because I also had a meeting with the Jaguars for getting ready for all of the credentials and stuff. So I was like, what can I eat that is not too noisy that I could just sit on this Zoom call? And it was chicken nuggets.
Not too noisy. All right, we also have lunch to give away, right, Taylor?
Yeah, if you want to get through that drive-through quick and fast and easy and get some delicious food. We've got lunch for two, lunch on the ladies today. Give us a call at 641-1010. Let's say caller number 3.
Call number 3. There you go, 641-1010. All right, let's wrap training camp for today and certainly preview what we want to see for tomorrow. Mia, let's say to this point in all of training camp, before we hit the stadium practice tomorrow, give me your top 5 guys that you think have stood out. Yeah, offense, defense, top 5 players that have stood out to this point.
Top 5 overall guys who've stood out. Let's begin. We're not doing the normal. We're not doing your Trevor Lawrence.
Sure, Trevor Lawrence, Josh Hines, Allen. We always take them off the ballot.
Those two are out of the list. Are we including Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm just going to throw those two in because just water is wet. Those two guys have been extremely solid. I'm going to throw Tank Bigsby in there, and I know it's going to upset a lot of you out there. But the truth of the matter is that he has run the ball hard. He hits the hole. I know you feel like you were duped a year ago. I do not believe you will be duped this year. I will also throw Parker Washington into consideration because he's someone who not only has impressed, and drops are a rarity from him, since we want to talk about Tank and the drops last year. And I also think that he's someone we've heard the coaching staff, whether it's Doug Peterson, Press Taylor, other players. He is someone that has really gotten a lot of credit where credit is due for the hard work he put in this offseason. And then I'll throw Ronald Darby out there because I think that he has solidified that he will be that starting corner so long as he's healthy and everything is good to go opposite Tyson Campbell week 1, because I don't think anybody has more pass breakups, quite frankly, whether that's in team periods or individual periods than Darby. And I think what's interesting, and you guys will hear this one coming up on the 1010XL Jaguars channel as well as on Into the Night tonight, Rick was with Elijah Cooks, who has also been a standout at times during the training camp so far. And he said, he was like, dude, Ronald is out here coaching me up on how to run reps. And I think that is an invaluable presence to have. And again, that is, as much as they won't specifically say that, Doug and Trent Baalke have stressed the free agent acquisitions were guys who are on playoff teams, guys who have been in the league, veteran presence, so that when the going gets tough, someone is there to say, hey, we're good. We got this. And I think that Ronald Darby is one of those guys, in addition to also looking pretty darn good in that press man coverage.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll throw Cam Little in there just for special teams purposes because Cam Little obviously already won the job. They waived Riley Patterson earlier this week, and Doug said he wants to put extra pressure on Cam. To me, Cam has looked good since he got here and certainly has the personality to go along with his accuracy. I'll also say along the offensive line, I think Ezra Cleveland and Mitch Morse are making their impact felt fairly quickly, and certainly in the short yardage today, I thought that they got some good push there from the offensive line. And then defensively, I feel like you can't talk about this defense without mentioning the two middle linebacker or inside linebackers. I should say Foye Oluokun and Devin Lloyd. Yeah. If they stay healthy, it is shaping up to be a really big season from both of them.
Another TFL, by the way, for Devin during team period today.
Yeah.
Did you guys see Cam Little's burner account he already?
Oh my God, we do need to can we debunk that myth? Let's go through
that
this.
That is Cam Little.
Are we going to talk about it? We're going to talk about it. Go for it.
Because I saw the other day, and honestly, the tweet that I had seen wasn't anything crazy. So for a second, I was like, oh, Cam Little. Go to the page to follow. Read some of the other tweets. I was like, no way, this is the real Cam Little. Some of the stuff is a little out there. I just saw one pop up. That's what made me think of it. But definitely a burner account for Cam Little.
And I don't know if it's a burner account because that
not
means,
like his burner, but
right. That
we're talking about
control
Cam
account.
Little Goat. Cam Little Goat. Yeah.
So Kevin Durant has a burner account because he wants to respond to people who are critical of him.
Yeah.
This is like someone's doing a fake
Cam
parody
Little account. I guess is the better word for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think overall to this point, we've seen the offense start to become more efficient, and certainly, like Mia mentioned, some good red zone work today and running the football. We mentioned the really difficult injury to Patrick Murtaugh, who you were going to interview today, and so certainly, like I said at the top of the show, thoughts and prayers with him, and hope that I assume that he'll have surgery just based off of how it looked. I have no idea. I'm not a doctor, as everyone knows, but that would just be my assumption based off of what we saw in person. And so, all right, tomorrow in the stadium, I think that'll be really good for the rookies, for certainly guys who are new to Jacksonville, to be able to practice inside Everbank.
Yeah, and I think it'll be a great opportunity to, yes, be exposed to having a full stadium. In effect, it does sound like from what Doug said this morning, they will be in pads. Yes, it sounded like that.
It's what it sounded like. Now, after today, will they actually tackle?
That's what I don't
know.
They also did break practice about 10 minutes early, too, today, because it was very hot out. I know it's supposed to be hot tomorrow. I'm excited to watch the continued development in the trenches, both along the offensive and defensive. I knocked my water bottle over. The offensive and defensive lines.
It has a cap on it. So
yeah, I know. I was afraid I left the cap not all the way secured. I'm very excited to watch that. I think we've seen the offensive line make significant strides. And I understand one-on-ones are merely a simulation of what occurs in an actual game. But I feel like you've seen a lot of offensive line, quote-unquote, wins in one-on-ones, and I'm not sure you saw nearly as many a year ago, and that bodes well. Now, of course, you have to question, all right, when are they blowing the whistle, and what's considered a win, what's not considered a win? But at the very least, that coupled with what I mentioned earlier about the red zone, the fact that Trevor Lawrence handed the ball off twice, and there were 2 touchdowns. That was not the case last year. That was not the case the year prior in training camp, let alone during the season.
I determine a win, by the way, just by watching offensive line coach Phil Rauscher. And if he gets excited, then I believe the offensive line has won, because we don't have the old Urban Meyer of the winner, loser.
Yeah, I mean, and I think tomorrow, one of the interesting things will be, I'm guessing, this is my assumption, no Cam, no Anton. So how does that line look without 2 of the pieces that you were really banking on being, what Cam has been and what Anton was last season, because that was such an issue last year of when guys started to go down and when they were dealing with injuries across the line. It just didn't mesh the way it should have. So it will be interesting tomorrow to see some of that. The interior, how much does the foundation of the interior help if they don't have a Cam or Anton out there?
Yeah, that's going to be a big question of just how they run practice, and certainly if there's guys out, who steps up and takes their place. And like I mentioned earlier, the practice is free. You just have to go to Jaguars.com and register. And I do think, what would you guess, Mia? Maybe 10,000 people tomorrow? More than that? 20,000?
I'll see it. We'll see how the weather looks. Isn't there supposed to be like a tropical depression or something rolling through too? I don't think it's tomorrow morning though. I don't think the rain's coming until Sunday.
Coming yet, but I mean, of course, there's always a chance of rain every day because we have reached July. But yeah, I think that's more on Sunday. By the way, I just realized that the U.S. men's soccer team was not going to advance because they lost 4-0 this is in the Olympics, to Morocco.
Oh, boy. Well,
I know it's the under 23 and all.
I was just going to say the silver lining is that it is not the
come
veteran
on,
squad,
guys.
but yeah.
No, but that's also their under 23 as well.
Well,
we depend on the women.
Yeah, nope. I just am going to refrain from comment on the men's side. They do have a different coach. It's not Greg Berhalter, obviously.
Right.
But it's the U23 coach who's coaching the Olympic side?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not whoever, because they still haven't named a full-time manager for the...
Yeah, and I looked up to see who the head coach is, but I already forgot the name. All right, let's cool down. RJ, hit it.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
I realized I didn't share my Feel Good Friday. I did. I did tweet it though. We now have Swedish Fish and Sour Patch Kids in the Jaguars media room, and that made my morning.
Marko Mitrovic. That's the name of the under 23.
The under 23 coach. Okay.
Yeah, men's soccer coach. I will say that the injuries were my biggest takeaway from today's practice overall, and certainly hope that none of them are serious, other than I would guess that Patrick Murtaugh is serious, the tight end from Australia. And then you also had Cam Robinson exit with a shoulder injury, Josh Peterson exit with an ankle injury, and Deshaun Dixon, who exited with an ankle injury, did return. But as you go through camp, certainly you don't want to see season-ending injuries. Hopefully, like I said, maybe other than Murtaugh, none of those are the case.
Yeah, my takeaway is that this is our last weekend without football for a very long time, because obviously preseason will start next weekend, and then by the time in between, college football is going to be starting before actually the NFL starts. So we get starting this week football for a long time, until at least through January.
Yeah, we have some friends that were trying to plan a party for us, and they were like, okay, when works? And I was like, well, on the calendar, the only weekend that will
February?
work is after Florida State plays Georgia Tech that Saturday. The game's at noon, so anytime after that. And then other than that, every weekend is booked, like you said, until at least January, if not February. And congratulations again, Taylor, to your Bears last night, who win, although the game was called. So are we really
behind too?
Yeah,
but are we really calling it a victory?
Take that, Texans!
Oh man,
Duval Doom was tweeting me. He was like, "Can you just please win this meaningless game?" I was like, "I'm trying over here, okay?"
I really am. I'm trying hard. Super excited, by the way, in the Olympics that the track and field begins soon, and so we've been watching, of course, gymnastics
tonight.
And swimming, and the track and field tonight. So certainly looking forward to watch all of that. All right, that's going to do it for us. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. We will see you out there at practice tomorrow. But for now, these heels are made for talking. We will talk to you on Monday. Don't go anywhere. XL Primetime is next.